Hello my friends, and welcome back. I'm Mini Pride from Milk and Cookies Total War, in case y'all forgot. And today we are talking more about the Khorne, Ogre Kingdoms, and Greenskins DLC, which has an official name now on the back end, but apparently I still want to keep that under wraps until the trailer launch, I guess. I'm not really sure. Shouldn't be too far away from that now, but it's a weird situation, because after we talk about what we're about to talk about today, we will literally know like at least 60-70% of what's coming in this update. Earlier than we ever have before, still weeks from a cinematic trailer probably, but we still won't have an official name, which makes SEO and YouTube stuff a bit wonky, because like, what do you search for when you want info about this DLC, right? I can't type Thrones of Decay or Silence and Fury right now, but it is what it is. Lots more news to cover, quite a few unit and mechanic reveals, but it was also 25 minutes long in the dev roundtable, and we can cut that down to like 8 or 10 easily, so that's what we're gonna do. Let's get it poppin'. First up, some cool-ass splash screen artwork with Mr. Maneater, Skulltaker, and Gorbad Ironclaw with Kultiron, and the Mountain of Skulls in the background to set the mood nicely for these three forces of carnage and calamity. But it is indeed official now. Arbaal the Undefeated, Destroyer of Khorne, is the free legendary lord coming with this update. Fear not, he will have his fancy banner mounted atop a ginormous and lovable hound named Princess, who obviously wouldn't hurt a fly. Apparently, he has the distinct and most glorious honor of being counted as the 100th legendary lord in this Warhammer trilogy. That's a big number. That's an important number. Probably not intentional or who they had originally envisioned way back in the day when they said, oh yeah, on number 100, we're gonna do something really cool. Just happened to work out that way. But honestly, not a terrible choice for it, all things considered. He's no Nagash, he's no Thankwall, but Arbaal's pretty goddamn cool, and he's been around a long time, so I don't think you'll hear too many complaints on that front. He'll be marked by his Wrath of Khorne feature, where you're encouraged to seek out the biggest, baddest, most dangerous armies, lords, and creatures you can, and the implication from the devs was, if you lose a battle with your main force and Arbaal in command, you just straight up lose the campaign. Because the main feature of his lore, as mighty and fierce as he is that should he ever falter, ever flee or lose a battle, he would immediately warp into a hentai monster chaosmon, such is the punishment for failure. Of course, that whole idea kind of falls apart a little bit when looking at Scar Bloodwrath, the legendary hero of the Scaramore tribe coming in this DLC, because Khorne apparently loves him and Valkia the Bloody way more than Arbaal. He'll resurrect them as many times as he pleases when they're slain, but poor Arbaal lose one fight against the world's finest forces of order, and suddenly it's eternal punishment as an angry octopus. But I don't know, I actually don't think that would be too punishing. I kind of like the idea of a challenge campaign with a unique loss condition, because that is the Undefeated's lore. Do not ever, for any reason, no matter what, lose any fight whatsoever. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. Do it, CA. Don't be cowards. Make it so that if we lose a single battle with Arbaal, our campaign is over, or literally just let me, play with him as a Chaos Spawn as my lord. Or maybe he'll then shift in like a hero slot where you can't control the army, but Arbaal just becomes this like rage monster that's kind of like Scylla Anfingrim. I don't know how they'll do it, but it sounds kind of fun to me. And honestly, how many times do you lose a battle with your main lord anyway? It's not that common. Usually, if you're losing a battle in the early stages of a campaign, you're probably just going to restart anyway. So give me that flavor, give me that fun. In addition to the free elements of Arbaal, of course, there are the paid units for Khorne, and the first is the Bloodspeaker, a support buff lord that wields blood rituals like a cudgel. Can't call it magic, because that would make the Slayer of Souls upsetty spaghetti. He's not a big fan, so the totally not magical blood rites of the Scaramore tribe will empower Skull Reapers and Wrathmongers, two End Times exclusive units, to new heights of slaughter. Wrathmongers in particular will be uber elite. Think along the same profile as Doomseekers for the dwarfs, same combat role, same dual wield weapons on chains, fast, hard-hitting infantry blenders, low model count, extremely powerful on a per model basis, but low-ish armor, won't like getting shot, won't necessarily trade cost efficiently into certain engagements, especially if they're getting charged themselves. Khorne Gors have also been revealed, and like Zongor and Pestigor before them, this will be a mid-tier infantry unit with the general characteristics of Gors. Fast, Primal Fury, Frenzy, that sort of thing, but these ones will be anti-large, a cheaper replacement for Chaos Warrior Halberds, and they'll have some unique combat buffs that improve their capabilities when losing in combat, because they don't want to make Daddy Blood God upset. And we get a really nice close-up of the Slaughter Brute, which will be kind of that main centerpiece unit for the Cornate side of the roster. I'll just let that clip play because it's pretty goddamn cool. As for Azul Skulltaker himself, his Cloak of Skulls grants defensive capabilities that are enhanced the more skulls he reaps, like the Hellblade's passive for Bloodletter units and Juggernauts, and similarly, some ways to Scarbrand 2. You send him to duel characters after he's killed off some chaff, and he will have supercharged his melee skills. But of course, Khorne has many use for skulls, and as players, we're going to have a lot more ways to spend them now. The new Skull Throne mechanic allows you to spend skulls on stuff like instantly replenishing a demonic army, gifting the Hungering Blades passive to all armies in your faction, to get Bloodletter summons, to create additional Bloodhost armies, and as you spend skulls, you progress up the tower towards better, more powerful faction-wide buffs, and some of the ones near the top look like they're going to be pretty OP. Now when it comes to the Ogre Kingdoms, not much detail forthcoming yet about their reworks, but Rich called it a complete Ogre haul. So at the very least, I would expect the main pain points surrounding mercenary contracts, which I understand were addressed to an extent in 5.3. We'll probably get some more loving on top of that soon. Big names, the Great Maw, Ogre camps, and food, all to be addressed in a variety of ways. There will almost certainly be gameplay videos solely dedicated to those elements before launch, so keep an eye out on that front. I don't think we'll have too long to wait there. As for units, there is some very fun and flavorful stuff on the way. As y'all know, Thundertuss, big centerpiece monster for the Ogres, are finally coming. Basically Stonehorn that fires a gigantic snowball, avalanche, breath attack thing from across the map. Blood Vultures and Yetis are also coming, we've talked about them, but the Ogre Paymaster is the new generic lord, reminding all bulls in his employ that if he dies, or you don't perform well under his gaze, you will not be getting paid. And if there's anything in this world that an ogre likes nearly as much as feasting and drinking, it is gathering gold and being a rich snitch, which hopefully means some more loving for our boys Scrag and Greasus, because they still be some sad, slovenly sacks of shit, and I don't want to be seeing a Paymaster rando outshining them. But yeah, support role, specializing in enhancing combat abilities for specific units as a buff lord, Paymaster could be interesting, but really not anything to write home about, I don't think. A new legendary hero has not been confirmed for the Ogres yet, but I do believe it'll be Brag the Gutsman and his anti-large belly carving Gut Gouger, probably a Bruiser as a hero, so a lot more melee choices on the character side coming soon. We'll talk about the other legendary hero for the Greenskins here in a little bit. And maybe the most interesting element of the reveals here, though, is the inclusion of an Eshin Maneater, who spent some time with the Skaven being a sneaky boy. So this dude is going to be a one-off pseudo-legendary hero, a single-entity assassin with smoke bombs, wakizashi, maybe some shuriken, dual katana blade, anime, shonen, manga, whatever the hell is going on. He's going to have some stealth mechanics to boot. Basically, a big, waddling, Paul Blart, mall cop looking ass who just so happens to have some Steven Seagal gravy seal training to slice and dice you fatly. Jesus, tap dancing Christ, Lord, he has really let himself go. Go watch the Come Town clip about Steven Seagal movies if you haven't seen it before. It's hilarious. I think there's also a Behind the Bastards episode about him. He's really not a great guy. But yeah, this dude might end up being the highlight for me in the entire DLC.
He's still making movies where it's like, we need to send our best special forces guy. And then he spends half the movie in a chair. He like refuses to get up.
It's a fantastic way to incorporate a really famous meme model, that ninja assassin ogre dude. It's a stupidly fun juxtaposition of a massively fat ninja who simply should not be able to do any stealthing whatsoever, but somehow is going to waddle his way into your back line, kill off your artillery crew, then eat your lord, all from invis. I love it. And I also love the pigback riders. You've actually seen them on my channel before in a Noblar battle a couple years ago using mods, but these are an early anti-large infantry unit for the ogres, just one Noblar riding on top another one. And the Regiment of Renown version will be a group of knightly Bretonnian Noblars who travel to the French countryside to learn how to joust, sporting lances, armor, and heraldry of the Lion-Hearted. And the idea of this unit is absolutely hilarious. I mean, it's literally just two Nobblers on top of each other, and in a world where there are demons and dragons and other beastly creatures of the void, we're going to be watching as two little green men ride into battle on top of each other as cavalry. It's going to be an exciting time for sure. So the Ogres are hardcore busting out the memes here. As for Golg Maneater himself, and yes, we are still calling him Golg. I know I've had a couple people saying it's not a big deal, you can just say the whole thing. No, Great Book of Grudges and a couple other YouTubers have recently had videos demonetized for using the full name. I do believe CA is trying to resolve that on the back end with YouTube because it's obviously really stupid, but it's an unfortunate name. The canon sometimes does get picked up by the profanity slur filter, so it is what it is. Golg Maneater can snipe characters with a pistol ability called Deadeye to help whittle down enemies from range or finish off a routing lord. So that pistol can only work on characters, it will not work on units, but should allow him to be a pretty versatile combat character with a variety of ways to influence the outcome, both on the campaign map and in battle. That's kind of what his whole lore and spiel is all about. He's an extremely successful ogre, one of the oldest characters in Warhammer Fantasy, I think almost rivaling Heinrich Kemmler. He might have been like the second or third character ever introduced to Warhammer Fantasy. He's been around a really long time, and he has made a huge impact on the lore, not just in terms of how long he's been around, but in terms of his feats, in terms of his ability as a general, as a diplomat. He's a pretty cool dude who doesn't afraid of anything. And finally, for the Greenskins, we have a legendary hero confirmation, Snagla Grobspit, the Spider Master. He's a forest goblin tied to the sacred spider grounds in Black Pit, at the heart of the Drakwold Forest with a fierce hatred of the Empire. And his regiment of renown, the Death Creepers, have been in the game since King and the Warlord, and he will serve as the Gordo's backstabber of Spiderdom in the Greenskins roster. Massive buffs to spider units of any and all variety, which, to be fair, isn't that many right now. Likely some fun thematic stuff you'll be able to do with Gorbad Ironclaw's themed armies there, because his main mechanic will heavily encourage experimentation and doing these kinds of themed builds. So if you get Snagla Grobspit, go for a spider theme, you'll probably get extra benefits for doing that alongside Gorbad Ironclaw. On the generic hero side, we've got the Night Goblin Big Boss, focused on buffing squigs, particularly the Colossal variety, which are coming in this update, perhaps alongside Mangler squigs as well. Of course, we've been seeing a lot of that kind of chain tech being added. I think Mangler squigs are probably pretty likely here. They're one of the more important missing units left for the Greenskins. They have not been confirmed yet, but with the Wrathmongers coming with their chains and the Doomseekers, the last one, I think they're pretty likely. And Black Orcs with Shields will actually be a DLC unit too. Now, apparently the devs are aware that just copy pasting some Black Orcs with a shield and calling it a day would not go over too well for a paid unit in a DLC. So they're taking extra care to make them worthy of the inclusion. What that means in terms of modeling or mechanics, I'm not exactly sure, but something to keep an eye on moving forward. And the other units so far have not been revealed yet. Greenskins will be getting some changes to campaign mechanics and general improvements, so we'll talk about those when the time comes. Again, probably going to be some gameplay uploaded beforehand that we'll be able to check out. But that's all I have for y'all today. It should not be long until an official trailer is forthcoming. Probably within the next 2 weeks would be my guess. But I hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Indie Pride, signing out for now. Have a good one, guys.